An American lawyer just put a woke student in their place, and what happened next will leave you speechless.
Is not disconnected from sex. So
it's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society. It's
okay.
Heated campus debates to intense TV showdowns, he's making waves and standing firm against the woke agenda.
As a mathematician and a physicist, what in the hell do you know about human biology?
And you got your law degree from...
What happens when a conservative commentator takes a stand on modern gender politics? Ben Shapiro is ready to share his views. Known for his sharp words and bold approach, Shapiro never shies away from the toughest debates, particularly when it comes to gender identity.
The term mother does not include father. Every category has to have boundaries. The boundary of female starts at male. And when you start including male in the category of female, you are threatening biological definitions as well as basic...
In recent debates, Shapiro has made it clear that he's not backing down. He's standing firm and ensuring his voice is heard. But things took an unexpected twist at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where Shapiro clashed with a student who thought their argument was unbeatable.
Someone who exhibits said womanhood.
Okay, well, you have just used the word female and woman to define each other. So you say a woman is a female, but not a biological female. A female is a woman and a woman is a female, but at no point have you added any new content.
No, I said a woman is someone who exhibits...
True to form, Shapiro stayed completely unfazed by the student's challenge.
Okay, here's my problem with that particular argument. The answer is that in 99.8%, 99.9% of cases, you absolutely can gender somebody based on looking at them. Like, really, if you're going to use intersex people as an example of not being able to do that, this does not obviate the biological duality of sex upon which all progeneration is based for all of human history and for all mammalians.
When the student brought up the topic of sex, Shapiro remained completely unbothered.
Objective standard, here's the deal. For all of human history, there was an objective standard between male and female.
If that wasn't enough, the student argued that gender is a spectrum and said we shouldn't judge someone's gender based only on how they look. Shapiro's response was blunt and to the point.
I can have every single biological characteristic of a male, and if I say I am female, then I am female. This is anti-scientific nonsense.
It wasn't just a debate, it was a masterclass in shutting down weak arguments. The student was left speechless, another example of Shapiro's unrelenting logic. But that's not all. Just wait until you hear about the heated confrontation on live TV, where Shapiro clashed with transgender activist Zoe Tur on Dr. Drew's show. The tension quickly escalated.
The brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No, I know. Well, but wait, to be fair,
Shapiro referred to Tur as Sir, which triggered an explosive reaction. Tur grabbed Shapiro by the neck and warned him, "Stop that now, or you'll be leaving in an ambulance."
Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, I'll call him Caitlyn Jenner.
No,
because
it's
that's
her. You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his...
Shapiro didn't back down. The incident made headlines not just because of the physical threat, but because Shapiro stood firm on biological facts. It wasn't just a debate, it became a confrontation, and Shapiro refused to let anyone intimidate him. This event marked a significant moment in a national conversation about free speech and the right to voice unpopular opinions without fear of violence. Shapiro's calm under pressure and his ability to get his message across earned both respect and criticism. For Shapiro, facts aren't swayed by feelings or threats. And his boldness didn't stop there. At Politicon 2017, he took on Blair White, a conservative transgender YouTuber, in yet another heated debate.
Are designed to differentiate between men and women, and that transgender women are not biological women, and that anything that attempts to overcome that argument is obfuscation rather than clarification.
This debate had a different tone, less aggressive but still highly intense. Shapiro began by acknowledging everyone's right to live as they choose, but he made his stance unmistakably clear.
I mean, I would try to avoid specifically offending you by using a pronoun that you don't like, but I also am not going to bow to the sort of social convention now that I'm supposed to use a pronoun of people's choosing rather than a pronoun that accurately describes.
While White agreed on some points, she emphasized the need for more compassion. However, Shapiro remained firm, distinguishing between respecting individual rights and supporting what he sees as scientifically flawed ideas. He argued that society shouldn't be forced to recognize identities that conflict with biological facts. That's when things really heated up. Shapiro's appearance at UC Berkeley sparked widespread protests.
Not everybody that the left says is alt-right is actually alt-right. I mean, the left calls me alt-right, which is patently insane.
The event quickly became controversial, requiring a heavy police presence to maintain order. During the Q&A session, A student challenged Shapiro's refusal to use preferred pronouns. Shapiro's response was straightforward and direct.
Teaching kids, as we are now being told, teaching kids that they must use preferred pronouns, or that men can become women, women can become men, sex doesn't exist, as a recent op-ed in the New York Times said, that's asinine, anti-scientific, and counterproductive.
Shapiro explained that while individuals have the right to identify as they wish, they shouldn't have the power to force others to use specific terms. This moment became key in the ongoing debate about balancing free speech with transgender rights, with Shapiro emphasizing that language shouldn't be shaped by ideology. The next confrontation took place at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro during an event titled Men Cannot Be Women.
I literally cited the DSM-5 in the speech, and it's called gender dysphoria, which is a term that I use throughout the speech, not gender identity disorder.
You sound like a bozo, bro. And you get no pussy, and you can't even make your wife wet, bro, so what's good?
Shapiro wasn't about to back down. The student then suggested that Shapiro's views were rooted in a Western, colonial perspective on gender. In response, Shapiro shut down the argument with his usual straightforwardness.
Framework of gender.
You're right. Men and women don't exist in any other culture.
No. Think about Native American.
Nailed it.
Third gender people. I'm not saying that. Third gender people exist in Native American societies, Western African societies, like Southern Native American societies, like Mexico. So in other places that are not white dominated,
and they
like
are
the United States or
incorrect.
Europe, and so you're
saying
saying
they're
white,
biologically
so non-white
incorrect.
people. I'm a mathematician.
Let's talk about Shapiro's heated debate on medical transitioning for minors at a college event. A student tried to challenge him by asking about his views on puberty blockers. To make things trickier, the student brought up circumcision.
Are your children circumcised? Did you circumcise your children?
Yes, I have two sons and they're both circumcised.
Why would you do that? Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
Nope, I'm circumcised. My works just fine.
Why is violating the bodily autonomy of an infant acceptable to you? And I can say, I'm a owner, and I can tell you, there's sensitivity right there, Ben, that is removed when you do a circumcision. Why is that okay to you?
Well, I don't mean to get personal, but I'm sure it doesn't seem like you could possibly have a basis for comparison. One of the big problems that you see in sort of the argument in favor of trans rights is this notion that gender and sex are completely separable. They're not completely separable. If they are completely separable, then this means that identifying people by their subjective gender really has no relevance as to whether they are a male or a female. Male and female are biological terms. So using terminology like male and female to describe a self-perception of maleness or femaleness is sort of a bizarre way of arguing whether a thing is a man or a woman. So here's my question. It's an argument that my friend Matt Walsh likes to make. What is a woman? Define what a woman is without reference to the word woman, please. Lots of countries all over Europe that were not particularly civilized and were quite white. They have freedom, personal responsibility, separation of powers, God-given rights protected by a government elected with the consent of the government. These are the values of Western civilization.
Shapiro made his position crystal clear, emphasizing the serious long-term effects of medical transitioning in children and calling for a cautious approach to such decisions. Throughout the heated debate, he kept his composure and delivered his arguments with unwavering confidence.